My torch is yours. Light the way.
Rivers give trees their light, trees that sees fairy sight.
With over 30 minutes of just in-game footage, finally, we've got over here an update on Soulframe, a game coming from the same director, creator of the Warframe game, which if you're new to, however, is a fantasy MMO or an action RPG, obviously free-to-play game. Also, you might want to know, despite the name looking like a sequel to Warframe, the two have nothing in common. Just take a look. This one takes place on a single pretty large open world, heavily influenced by nature, and a little bit of Princess Mononoke, the Japanese cartoon.
To feel the flames of Moratru, her arms entwined in sapphire blue. But I cannot.
At number 2, I believe it's the first time we're mentioning it over here, it's getting mentioned in our lists. We've got a pretty much Dark Souls style action RPG here that I actually had to go a bit deep to find an update since it's only on Twitter page. A game called Dungeons Deep, which I thought would be a neat little addition to the list because it's got potential and actually not bad looking, especially the lightings. Anyway, the game is coming to PCs and all consoles apparently next year.
Never possessed the metal for this, Crusader. You failed.
Lords of the Fallen is now coming out October 13 for PCs, the next generation of consoles, and if you missed it, we got a new trailer for it too. Make sure to check it out, it's a good one. The game itself, if you are new to, is a reboot of an almost decade-old action RPG which was technically announced last year, with the same name, and it's a dark fantasy Souls-like as it's tagged. Here's some gameplay, if you're wondering. It is indeed quite a bit inspired by the Dark Souls, or of course, the Elden Ring.
Suffering. Chaos. Now you will know darkness, brother.
Coming as one of the big 3 China Hero Project games like Lost Soul aside, which we mentioned before, we've got over here another Souls-like action RPG in the making, although this was just revealed through the China showcase, a game called Daba, Land of Water Scar. Weird name, and the reason is that it tells the story of a humanoid that's made out of clay, and it's a puppet, whereas in this world on the verge of collapse. See what I mean? Anyway, here's some in-game footage and story trailer. It's a PlayStation 5 exclusive set to be coming out next year. Game Science just went on and launched the official Steam page for Black Myth Wukong, finally. It's a action RPG hack and slash semi-open world, or like open-ended game based on the Chinese literature, The Journey to the West, in which you get to play as the son Wukong himself, known as also the Monkey King. Nothing big in terms of news, however, we just learned the game will be coming over to cloud gaming service as well for PCs, the next generation of consoles, and all on the third quarter of 2024.
Share my vision. I see the crystals, our lords and masters since the beginning of time, holding the clans of Isla together. I see you're proving.
Sitting on the Kickstarter since just a month ago, it doesn't even have to go any further than that, because it's every single goal is met, and now on its way to PCs, Switch, and both generation of consoles next year. Number 6, we have Crystalla. I think it's the first time I mentioned this game. It's a dark fantasy action RPG with really challenging combat, parkour, exploration, and an actual story. The Kickstarter basically says it's a passion project developed by a fully women-owned studio. Just think Elden Ring, except women. Anyway, to accompany the words, we got a new trailer too.
And of all, you will build a mighty arsenal with weapons, armor, and magic. You will learn the true histories of Isla, the clans, and the crystals themselves. You will journey throughout the clans of Isla, learning their ways, gaining their powers, and protecting their citizens. Stranger, traveler, the time has come. Your destiny awaits. Take up your arms. Embark upon your journey. Become one of the Raksaka.
How many lies would you tell? How many enemies would you face?
Lies of P was resurfaced about a month ago last with a new, technically finished footage gameplay. And believe it or not, if you missed it, the game is now releasing for PCs, both generation of consoles, not the Nintendo Switch, however, on September 19 this year. That's like 20 days from now. Anyway, if you didn't know Lies of P from before, just imagine what you would get by mixing Elden Ring, or Bloodborne specifically, with a little bit of the recent Atomic Hearts premise. It's a Souls-like action RPG and you play as Pinocchio.
How many lies would you tell to be human?
Death, Lady of Men, Lady of the true faith and of the true path of those who breathe, hear my clamor.
Deathbound, on the other hand, which was aired about a month ago, ever since it's been taking a lot of attention on the internet. This game, if you missed out on, is an action RPG hack and slasher as well. It's not Diablo since it's not a top-down in gameplay, but a third-person player and feel. Here's the trailer we got from the publishers, which are, by the way, the same folks who brought Kawa games around in Remake. This game is coming to PCs only early next year.
O Lady, I beg of thee, give us thine protection today, that we might make thee an offer of 1,000 infidels cut down by our swords. Postpone today our inevitable end, so that our life becomes an instrument of death. By the breath, by the war, by the peace.
You know better than anyone else. That no one could escape.
Announced during the PlayStation Showcase a couple months ago, a quick mention over here, we have a Phantom Blade Zero. Definitely deserves its own video. One of the top 5 most insane RPG hack and slashers that we've come across since Black Myth, with Souls-like combat and some grim, serious samurai labor aesthetics. Like, apparently you play as an assassin, which is who happens to be fighting through his last days of dealing with a very deadly disease, so it's just his dying days and he's dealing with the evil. Check it out, game is going to be coming to PCs and the PlayStation 5 only next year.
Going where? This damn place! You're suicidal!
One last toast, and we're all done.
Lastly, it's also the longest awaited game in the list from the Korean developers in Pixel, which has been teasing their game Chrono Odyssey since 3 years ago, and the word that the game is now finally releasing for PCs and the next generation of consoles in addition to mobiles a tad later apparently, with minimalized graphics early to mid next year. If you missed out on Chrono Odyssey, this is a MMORPG where the players have to bend time in order to survive. So basically it's got a lot of time manipulation components. Take a look.